Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rosemary Iliago. The topic that we chose is the steps in rational decision making. Before we go to the steps, we are going to tackle first what is rational decision making all about. Rational decision making is a multi-step process. What do we mean by multi-step process? It is a series of different stages carried out to produce final result or what we call the final decision. If you want to make a good decision, then you should depend on accessible facts to create a careful analysis. Rational decision making refers to the objective process which people and organizations adhere to logically solve problems and overcome challenges. There are 6 steps to be considered, which will be discussed one by one later. Step is identify the problem. Second, establish decision criteria. Third, weigh decision criteria. Fourth, generate alternatives. Fifth, evaluate alternatives. And lastly, is select the best alternatives. These steps will help us to make better choices and decisions in our life.
Identifying the problem of a certain issue is the first and the most important thing to do in rational decision making. Unable to distinguish the problem properly may result in unnecessary solution at the end. Identifying problems sometimes requires deeper understanding and thinking to distinguish the central issue that needs to be identified. For example, you have a mobile phone that is not working well anymore, and you also need a laptop for your schooling. So you decided to buy those gadgets. However, the main problem of yours is you only have an amount of money that can only buy one of those 2 gadgets.
Identify decision criteria. Once the decision maker has defined the problem, he or she needs to identify the decision criteria that will be important in solving the problems. In this step, the decision maker determines what is relevant in making the decision. This step brings the decision maker's interests, values, and similar personal preferences into the process. Identifying criteria is important because what one person thinks is relevant to another person may not. Also, keep in mind that any factors that are identified in this step are considered irrelevant to the decision maker. For example, let's assume you are married. Some of the criteria identified may include budget, safety, functionality, and reliability.
Weigh decision criteria. In this, you can improve your decision making by adding criteria and weight on it. The key is making the criteria categorical. You also need to weight the criteria to create the correct priority in the decision. This is effective for personal decision making because it forces you to get the clarity on your own criteria. And it is also effective for group decision making because you create a shared of criteria. When people know what is valued, it is easier to understand and weigh in the decisions. Here po sa weigh decision criteria, kailangan po muna nating timbangin ng mabuti ang mga details bago po tayo gumawa ng isang desisyon. We need to consider all the factors that can affect our decision. So, we need to do this weigh decision criteria po para mas malaman po natin kung ano yung mas matimbang sa magiging decision natin.
Step 4. Generate alternatives. As you collect information, you will probably identify several possible paths of action or alternatives. You can also use your imagination and add more information to construct new alternatives. In this step, you should list all the possible and desirable alternatives.
Step 5. Evaluate alternatives. Evaluation of alternatives is the third stage in the consumer buying decision process. During this stage, consumers evaluate all of their products and brands options on the scale of attributes which have the ability to deliver the benefits that the customers is seeking. The brands and products that consumers compare their evoke set represent the alternatives being considered by consumers during the problem-solving process. During the evaluation of alternatives, careful consideration is given to the social, economic, and ecological factors that influence the predicted outcomes.
Good day, I am Jewel G. Cruz of TCIE 2-2. And for the sixth step in rational decision-making process, we have to choose or select the best alternative from all evaluated or generated options from the previous steps. In short, we have to choose the best solution or decision. This is the most crucial step in any decision-making process as we have to optimize the solution and select an alternative with the highest or maximum amount of payoff based on its benefits, cost, risk, and other factors. In selecting the best alternative, we must base on past experiences or history, experimentation, research, and analysis. By this, we must take into account the factors like the economy, resources, feasibility of implementation, and the time of deciding the best course of action. After choosing the best alternative, we must implement the decision into action and see if the desired outcome is attained from the results. That's all. Thank you.
For the summarization, rational decision-making method ignores non-quantifiable issues such as ethical concern and the value of altruism. Personal feeling, loyalty, and sense of obligation are not considered because of its impartiality. It has leaning toward facts, statistics, and analysis over intuition and wishes.